Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. Elijah McClain's the person that unalived Elijah McClain was released from prison, and he only served 119 days out of his 5 years sentence. So the judge frees Colorado paramedic convicted in death of Elijah McClain from prison. Each time we talk about white privilege, they tell us that they do not have privilege. This is a typical example of it. Out of 5 years. And why did he even get 5 years? Why am I saying why did he get 5 years? He only spent 119 days out of the years. Now, this is one of the reasons why I do not support the other man becoming the president, because I don't know what is going to be our fate because of the immunity he has already promised to give them. This is what Black people have to put up, like go through every day. You can imagine going out and coming back and not seeing your children, your son or your daughter, right? And I keep saying this, I am always very uncomfortable telling my own people to be careful because you cannot be careful enough. You might be just going out to buy water to drink. You are already profiled. Let's get into this.
The man who killed Elijah McClain just walked free. The man who
Elijah McClain was worth exactly 119 days. An entire human being's life is worth 119 days of a 5-year sentence. Because this jackass injected him in the neck with ketamine for no fucking reason. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Elijah McClain, a black man with a ski mask because of a skin condition, was stopped by the police because he was a black man wearing a ski mask who has a skin condition. He was roughed up by the police and was injected with ketamine by a EMT, and his life was worth exactly 119 days. 119 days. The way the American justice system works, or the way it's advertised to work, goes something like this. You commit a crime, and murder obviously is a crime. Obviously is a crime. You are arrested for that crime. You are charged with that crime. You have a chance to bail out, or you end up being held because you cannot bail out until the trial happens. If you can't afford a lawyer, one is provided for you, public defender, things of that nature. You go on trial. Evidence is shown. The prosecutor shows the evidence. The defense tries to dispute evidence and bring up their own witnesses, this, that, and the third. A jury then either convicts you or acquits you. If they convict you, then the judge hands down sentencing. Now, that's how the justice system is advertised to work. But when it comes to black folks who are harmed, hurt, maimed, injured, or killed at the hands of the law enforcement apparatus in this motherfucking country, this is how justice works. A black person not doing anything is killed by a cop. The prosecutor who works with the cop didn't just like, hey, we're not going to charge the cop. And that's the end. If they are charged, like in the case of this EMT, who had absolutely no reason whatsoever to put ketamine in the system of Elijah McClain, they're arrested reluctantly. They are charged reluctantly. They are put on trial reluctantly. Everybody in the whole process crying like, oh my God, I have to do this to this person who killed someone. Their actions resulted in a murder. The jury convicts this person. Then the judge reluctantly gives them 5 fucking years. Not 25, not 105, 5. Now, if that ketamine had went on the streets, in the form of a drug dealer, and this EMT just so happened to be a shade darker than milk, we'd be talking about dozens of years. But for this, taking an entire human life, it's only 5 years. And then after 119 days, which consists of this person appealing what they actually fucking did, the judge has mercy on them, commutes their sentence to 4 years probation, because we don't want, you'll be on probation, and if you happen to kill another human being while injecting ketamine into their fucking system, you'll go back to serve the remainder of your 5 fucking years, minus the 119 for, they credited you back. And justice is served and everybody's happy. Oh, that's right, except for those of us who know and love Elijah McClain. Fuck him, right? His life was only worth 119 days in jail. 119 days in jail. And the same people who will ask, what did Elijah McClain do to be stopped by the police, handcuffed by the police, and have ketamine injected into his system, which is what inevitably killed him, will be the same fucking people that will ask, what did he do? Are the same motherfuckers that will support a motherfucker that was convicted on 34 fucking felonies. But his sentencing is going to happen after the election, because this is the shit y'all proud of. Y'all have the nerve to stand up in the faces of other countries and tell them how great everything here is in America. Maybe we should ask Elijah McClain. We can't. He's dead.
You all remember the death of Elijah McClain in 2019 at the hands of Aurora, Colorado police and paramedics. And do you remember when Pe0ple, the paramedic that was responsible for the fatal dose of ketamine that Elijah McClain received, was sentenced to 5 years back in March? And I told you all this was not a victory and not to get your hopes up. And people were dancing in the street because one of the officers received 14 months in jail and the other paramedic received 4 years probation. And I told you all not to get your hopes up because this was not a victory. Well, Pe0ple had his sentence vacated on Friday. You heard me correctly. Pe0ple, the paramedic that is responsible for the fatal dose of ketamine that Elijah McClain received, who was found guilty of criminal negligent homicide and second-degree assault in the death of Elijah McClain, and sentenced to 5 years earlier this year, has had that sentence vacated after only serving 10 months in prison, and now will spend 4 years on probation. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. This is why I tell you all, sometimes you all are dancing in the streets way too soon. And you can best believe those other officers are going to see relief in their sentencing also.
Are we gonna pull you over? Or are we just fucking with you?
Could you do your best to not fuck with black people though? For real. I'm not trying to be funny, I'm not trying to be demeaning or ACAP shit. Just, I really need you to understand that that is really, really, really triggering. Like this whole video, I was just casually scrolling and you even talking about this was probably one of the most triggering things ever. And I'm not trying to be overly sensitive or some shit. It's just that I've been pulled over so many times in my life, a number that if I told you the number, it wouldn't make any fucking sense. You'd be like, that's weird. And if I told you the amount of tickets that I actually got from those times I got pulled over, the ratio doesn't make any fucking sense. I got pulled over so many times in high school that I knew the police officers who were pulling me over. And they just kept doing it. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, David you went to the Christian school, so you're one of the good ones," type shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I knew the cops so well that one time I snuck out of the house when I was a kid, and I got a flat tire, and the tire jack didn't fit on the truck, and one of these cops stayed with me and helped me like change this tire for hours. Like I think it was like an hour and a half in the freezing cold in winter. Because he knew me so well for pulling me over so much. Do you know what I mean? And you know, props to him, but when you do shit like this, you gotta understand, man, like when I get pulled over, when most black people get pulled over, we got like a whole protocol that happens. Like there's an entire sort of set of things. Just that the sniff, the whiff of somebody like thinking about pulling us over, right? Cop gets behind you, you're immediately running. You're running scenarios, right? You're running, are my tags good? I know I got ADHD. Is there a lighter in the car? Does the car smell like anything? Do you know what I mean? And so when you do this, like, it's not like a chill Tuesday for some people. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh no, like the people who are gonna be the most affected by this, I'm just asking as a favor, man. Please, like, if you could just make it. I know you just doing your job. I know you just work there. But fuck, man. I remember this one time I thought I was about to get pulled over, and this cop was riding behind me for some blocks, and you know, I'm doing this stuff. I'm looking for like a 7-Eleven to pull into so I can get out of the car really quick and be like, I'm not the George you're looking for type shit. And I was already almost home, so I was like, let me just get home. At least I'll be home. And so he ends up turning off and not pulling me over. And I remember when I got home, I pulled into the front, and I remember checking in with myself because I think subconsciously I expected myself to be a lot more rattled than I was, even though I was a little rattled. And my body was in this like almost weird state of calm, like absolute just stillness, right? Because that's the sort of trigger response to having a cop do some shit like that to you. You know, like, because that's my trigger response, is to like go into complete like, I'm locked in, right? I'm present. Yes, so no sir type shit. Like, I'm not gonna cause any kind of fucking problems. You know what I'm saying? And then I surprised myself because I started crying because I was really angry at the unfairness that the mere sight of a cop creates that response within me. I think it all kind of hit me at once, you know what I mean? And so just from person to person, right? Could you just really make an effort to not do this to black people? Because it really could fuck up their day. Like, it could really fuck their shit up.
So this is all I got from this video, and really, I am tired. You know, sometimes you really hope that things get better for people that look like me. You know, I cannot count how many people that are normal. I am trying to, like, you know, I'm trying to know the kind of word I use, because there is a video that I did about what happened to that young man, right? The recent video that I put about a young man that was a trucker. That video was flagged down, and they said that they also limited it, but it's fine. A lot has really been happening when it comes to black people, and it is only people that look like me that when something happens to you, find that the people that did that to the person end up not being punished or not getting the right punishment for whatever they did. Why? Because they are immune, right? So this is also part of the privilege that when we talk about, nobody wants to listen to us. Because tell me how somebody that did something to this young man, that injected something to this young man to this very moment, the truth is that eventually he is going to walk free, and nothing will happen, because Because you know why? What happened to Elijah McClain was something that should never ever happen to any. Like, there are some things you see and you do not wish that to happen to anybody, no matter who. Like, to let this not happen to anybody. But all these things are the things people that look like me go through on daily basis. There is no day that passes by that you don't hear a story that someone like me is something happened to him or her. Just that some don't make it to the news. The ones that make it to the news, or the one that make it to TikTok, those are the ones who end up hearing. Just like what happened to that young boy, 21 years trucker, right? This would have been a dead story, like a covered up story, if the family were, if the families, like, sometimes there are some things that will happen to you. You are in kind of overwhelmed. You don't know how to react. You just want to mourn what happened to your son or your family member, that they didn't even end up bringing it to the public places. And when it doesn't come to the public places, we don't get to hear them, right? But I am happy that people started creating awareness and people started picking up on that and started reporting on it. That was a great thing to do, right? Because all these things, I am not praying that we keep using ourselves as an example, or as a wake up call, or as a video to tell every other person to be alert. It's really sad that we have to keep doing this all the time. Like, since this year, I can count how many persons that are no more, you know. And the truth is that we're just going to probably scream for just a couple of days. And after 1 week, we are no longer talking about it. And that is one of the reasons why they keep doing what they are doing, right? Some things require drastic measure, especially things like this, because how long will something like this continue to happen? So it's more like you might wake up or you might not wake up, or you might go out and you might not come back. So how long do you want to keep living in fear? How long do you want something like this to keep happening to people that look like me? So I am also saying that it's also time, like, they start holding the people doing things like this to us responsible, let them be accountable for what they do and what they did, right? Because they are probably going to put the person on probation, send the person to, probably to jail or prison for like few days, and then before you know what is going on, the person is free. Is that one punishment? These are the things people that look like me do not give lungs. Like, I feel like it's a luxury for them, because they are likely, or most likely, to get away with things, and we don't have that luxury. We pay for our shit. They don't pay for anything. And before you know what, it's going on, probably before, I am not praying for something like this to happen to anybody, because it is a very sad thing. It's a terrible thing to lose a loved one. But before you know what's going on, before next week again, you are definitely going to hear another story. So what of the ones that people did not report? We really have to be very careful. But I feel very sad that we are the ones telling ourselves that we really have to be careful every day. Every day, we are screaming, we really have to be careful. When we say be careful, we are not even saying it because you are doing something, because you know that there is no way that is safe. But I am going to say this: parents, really be very careful. Tighten so many things up, especially when you have kids. Find out where they are at every point in time. Make sure that they are with the right friends. Make sure they are where they are supposed to be. I know why I'm saying this, because it really hurts. It will hurt seeing anybody lose someone they love. It looks like they are using us for experiments, But all I can still say is, let's be careful. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.